And we are live. Good evening, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 461. Today is Thursday, August 29th, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between community and crypto every day around 3-ish. As of now, today is definitely a 3-ish day. A lot of good stories today. Top story of the news, of course, is Portugal's tax authority saying Bitcoin trading and payments are now tax-free. Shout out to them. U.S. banking giant PNC starts using RippleNet for cross-border payments. Alleged Capital One hacker accused of secretly mining cryptocurrency. Binance launches dev education and collaboration platform with Binance X. And last but not least, Andreas Antonopoulos announces new book, Mastering Lightning Network. So a lot of good news today. As I said, first, of course, is look at these prices. I know they're not where most people want them to be, but we talked about this. Should be kind of expected. These are volatile times, as always. What's going on, Tiffany from NYC? How are you? But yeah, looking at the price today. Now, I'm not actually sure whether it's CoinDesk or CoinMarketCap, whoever the main data aggregator is for the prices for the 24-hour cycle. I got to find out what time they reset, because right now the percentages lost and gain on everything, as well as the dollar amount, doesn't equate to the last 24 hours since I last spoke to you all or saw everyone. Is going off of a different clock. So again, I need to figure out what time it is. It's already shifted again. But looking at this data from CoinDesk, Bitcoin today is at $9,498. It's saying it's down 2.21% with a loss of $214. Again, I'm not sure when that reset it, because in the last 24 hours, Bitcoin is actually down about 7%, as well as most of the other cryptocurrencies. But we'll go with this negative 2.21% for now until I figure out when that resets. Ethereum is at $169, down 2.39%. Litecoin is at $64, down 3.89%. XRP is up at 25 cents, up 0.24%. So not a lot, just a little bit. And Bitcoin Cash is at $279, down negative 4.5%. Again, it's even more for them actually from yesterday. But yeah, the talk of the town, of course, is Bitcoin. Everyone is officially calling for a bear market now. Again, it's crazy how in a span of 6 or 7 days, so much has changed so quick as far as people predictions, what's going to happen next. I mean, the bottom line is no one knows. Again, I have to keep saying that because there are so many factors outside of the indicators that would give you, an ideal price. You can't just go off charts and TA with this. There's so many external factors happening. You talk about regulators, you talk about futures, you talk about a holiday in the U.S. There's so many things going on. I know a couple of those were actually highlighted here in this article, 3 reasons why Bitcoin prices crashed today. I won't go over all 3, but the main 2, which I kind of agree with again, CME Bitcoin futures is one of the main ones. Of course, the futures are planning to end again tomorrow, or at least they'll expire for the ones that are up right now at the Chicago-based CME. So they're saying many investors, of course, sold their holdings to settle the futures that will be expiring here next 24 hours. So people are saying that triggered the downtrend. I can believe that. If you remember when CME and CBOE got started, I think it was CME, but one of their CEOs came out and said they were going to tame Bitcoin. And, initially we laughed about it until it actually started to happen. So it looks like it's happening right now. People are selling off to settle some of these futures, and thus the price is being reflected on it. Another big thing, again, this article pointed out, it's the week before Labor Day. Labor Day weekend is here, 4-day weekend. We see this a lot during the summertime when the price suddenly goes up and down during holidays. We see it during December and Thanksgiving. As it gets closer to Thanksgiving, sometimes you see that price drop. Same way with Christmas, but shortly after the price goes right back, right? So the holiday weekend definitely has something to do with it. It's funny, this article said half of crypto is at Burning Man, while the other half is sitting on their hands doing nothing. Volumes are low, and it takes very little to move markets right now, and you have big futures / options expirations coming up at the end of the week. Again, my primary 2 reasons I agree with this. I think between the futures and the holiday, that definitely cut some of the price or some of the steam off of Bitcoin in general. Of course, you got weak hands out there too who are selling, all this fuzz coming out. This article also points out to back launching as well as China getting away from the trade conflict. I don't think the China and the back thing has as much as an impact again as the futures and the holidays do. Primary reason is because we've already kind of canceled out China when it comes to trading Bitcoin for the most part, because we know how they go every month from it being legal to illegal to we like it to we don't like it. And not only that, a lot of people who are interested in this trade conflict, institutions as well as mom and pop retail investors, a lot of them aren't really into Bitcoin yet. I know everybody keeps having this thought that depending, we do have this swan, this crazy red swan event where something happens and, the market crashes, everybody's going to flood to Bitcoin, or something happens with China and the U.S. trade war, everybody's going to flood to Bitcoin. But that's just not the truth. I mean, money will flow to it, but it's going to be money coming from people who are already in the space for the most part. There's not going to be a lot of new money all of a sudden coming in because the Chinese trade conflict is going on. Again, those people are either already in crypto or they're not in crypto. That's not going to be their determining decision overnight, at least. So I don't think that is. But again, it'll be interesting to see how we look come next week, this time next week, Thursday of next week, after the holidays have gone by, back to business. It'll be very interesting to see what happens next. All right, a couple quick shout outs. What is going on? Leroy Forbes, Andre Durden, what is up? Ghost Acosta, Crypto Ty, what's up? Yes, I'm glad you did have a chance to tune in live. Always the best way. Glad to have you. All right, top story of the day. I don't think I made the title too clickbaity, but I was thinking about making it super clickbaity by just saying Bitcoin is now tax-free or something. But I knew some people would be pissed off on that one. But Portugal Tax Authority says Bitcoin trading and payments are now tax-free. That's right. Portugal's tax authority has clarified that both cryptocurrency trading and payments in crypto will not be taxed in the country. Cointelegraph in Espanol reported on August 27. Listen, that's the way to be a leader, all right? Like, just when you think about regulating Bitcoin, like, I wish we could actually put a dollar amount next to how much it costs to regulate Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the United States. I mean, really think about that. You have all these new alphabet agencies started up, all these new task force starting up. They got the task force, their joint task force with Canada. You got the task force in this state. I think Maryland said they're going to have a task force in their state. All these different task forces, right? Taxpayer money. Then you have actual regulators using working time, which I would rather them be working on things that are going on in the banking system and the traditional fiat system. No, they've shifted their efforts over to cryptocurrencies. So now you have all these regulators that are on the clock now looking to cryptocurrency and how the regulator come up with whatever next, right? Then you got your president who got a tweet about it. That takes time, right? But seriously, I mean, top to bottom, I would love to see the costs, the dollar cost of how much the United States has spent trying to regulate Bitcoin, instead of doing what Portugal did and just say, hey, let's just make it legal. If we make it legal, we actually, in the short term, already save money as well, because we don't have to start all these agencies on Wednesday mornings and Friday nights out the blue without anybody's permission. We don't have to start these agencies and start paying more people to do things that are eventually will be obsolete, or doing things that will make no difference in the market for the most part as far as this long-term goes. So I'm happy to see this. Again, I think they save money by doing it. They're just like, look, we don't got time to be going back and forth with court rulings and all this. What is it? It's supposed to be money. No one owns it. All right, let's run with it. All right, tax-free at the very least for now. So again, I love seeing this. It looks like, according to a report published on August 26th by the Portuguese business newspaper Jornal de Negocios. I think I said that right. If we have someone Spanish speaking, please correct me though. Negocios. The Portuguese Tax and Customs Authority have confirmed that crypto transactions or payments are exempt from value-added tax, the VAT tax, of course. The agency reportedly provided clarification to a local crypto mining company, publishing an official ruling document. In the document, the authority states that the exchange of crypto for fiat money is free of VAT, as it should be, adding that crypto users do not have to pay any income tax, as it should be. They're actually citing a 2015 ruling for the crypto tax exempt. They said that the Portuguese tax authority cited a 2015 ruling by the European Court of Justice regarding the case involving major Swedish Bitcoin portal Bitcoin.se and his moderator David Hedquist. saying that the court ordered that Bitcoin is a means of payment and that the exchange should therefore be exempted VAT obligations. However, the Swedish tax authority subsequently argued against the ruling, claiming that the court did not fully understand the matter, which could be true either way, right? But what's true right now is, again, in Portugal is about to turn into one of those sanctuary cities because, as I just stated, Bitcoin is tax-free as well as other cryptocurrencies. Again, glad to see this. Makes sense. I understand that they're saying that they may have not understood it because this happened in 2015. But that's the point we've been trying to make when it comes to all these laws and regulations. Bitcoin is a decade old, right? In 2015, the European Court of Justice, who clearly didn't know what they were talking about, possibly, maybe they did, but with the information they had, they made a ruling on it. That's just one. The United States is no different. Neither is none of these other countries who are as advanced or even less advanced, right? They don't know what they're talking about, which is even crazier. Again, Portugal signed this 2015 ruling to make it tax exempt. And here in the United States, we're locking people up from the things they did in 2015 with cryptocurrency if it didn't basically go along with the rules they're making up today. So again, this is crazy to see, but I'm happy to see it. Portugal is moving forward with this. Hopefully it brings some more innovation toward them when it comes to cryptocurrency. But again, this is definitely a big win for all things crypto. Hopefully we see more countries start to adopt it. There's no reason to tax it. If anything, you're spending more money trying to tax it because you have to spend so much money to figure out who these addresses go to, the technology behind it, working groups here, alphabet agencies there, task force here, regulators spending time on it there. Like, you have to spend so much money to even get a grasp of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a government. So instead, just make it tax-free, buy some of your own United States and other governments around the world, and you won't have to worry about it any longer. It'll be an easy fix. So again, glad to see. Here's the actual official document where they're saying it is free. I'm just now looking at this, and my Spanish is not quick enough to read through all of this immediately or even skim through it. I can kind of do. I can see here. Let's see. Organization. Yep, it's not that great, people. So if anybody reads Spanish, check this out. I'll put a link right here in the chat box if you all want to check it out. There you go. But this is the official document from Portugal, and this is the one that says we won't be taxing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Again, big win. Glad to see it. Definitely glad to see it. The next big story of the day. U.S. banking giant PNC starts using RippleNet for cross-border payments. There we go. Everybody over there at Ripple. Hey, way to hold tight. For those who believe in the project, way to stand strong for 24 hours. Because just yesterday, as we talked about it, if you remember, Crypto BitLord was rounding up the troops on Twitter to actually fork Ripple. But it looks like RippleNet has a point about their project and what they're doing. PNC, the United States' 8th largest bank with almost $400 billion in assets. I mean, really think about how crazy this is. It's the 8th largest bank with $400 billion in assets, yet all eyes from every regulator are on cryptocurrency. It makes no sense. Like, this is the 8th largest bank at $400 million. Worry about banking in Wall Street, the people who pay for you. I know that's why you're not going to do it, because they pay for your, your campaigns and everything, but worry about them. Our market is so much smaller. It makes no sense for the amount of energy and efforts we had. What's even crazier, if Bitcoin were to go down to like $500 tomorrow. I mean, I won't say hopefully it doesn't, because if it did, it'd be a lot to buy. But if Bitcoin were to go down to like $500 tomorrow and stay there for the next 2 years, I guarantee everything the government has been doing in regards to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency would drop overnight. Like, they would literally stop trying to regulate. They wouldn't be thinking about it. They wouldn't be trying to tax it. Efforts would be done because they go where the money is at. 2 years later, if it were to go right back up to 20K again, we would have this cycle all over. It makes no sense because, as you see here, with the 8th largest bank has $400 billion in assets. What do you think the first one was? It JP Morgan Chase, who has $1 billion just on the cocaine boat? How much do you think they actually have in assets, right? So that's where I feel like they should be focusing their effort on. But as I digress, PNC has become the country's first to start using the RippleNet blockchain network for cross-border payments. Fintech Futures reported on August 29th that PNC Treasury Management is now offering RippleNet-based cross-border payment solutions to its commercial clients, claiming that the blockchain solution will give them, quote, the ability to receive a payment from an overseas buyer against their invoices instantly, transforming the way they manage their global account receivables and allowing them to better manage their working capital. Sounds a lot like what Bitcoin does as well, but shout out to RippleNet for getting this deal done with PNC, and shout out for PNC again. It might not be Bitcoin, but it's cryptocurrency. It's a base hit, as we call it. And just like Silvergate Bank down here in SoCal, which I applauded many times actually last couple of weeks for some of the things they're adopting. I know we talked about them yesterday with Gemini going to their fiat, their instantaneous fiat transfer basically. Again, PNC is basically doing the same thing, which is crazy because this technology is out there. They are now the second bank to adopt this technology in some form, at least publicly. Again, we had Silvergate just do it. They're saying, hey, 24/7, if you want to trade Bitcoin and fiat, pull your fiat out or put fiat in, you can do that around the clock now. And finally, we got PNC saying, hey, at least for their commercial clients, and I understand why they're doing the commercial clients, because they don't want you, the retail investor, they don't want the mom and pop, the end user, the customer, they don't want you saving all this money. But for their commercial clients, the bank and the client saves money. So it kind of makes sense for them to go that direction first. And you know what, to be fair, it gives them a chance to really test it out as well, because if something messes up with your normal everyday bank or a person going to go bank, it might be a big fuss. You mess up one customer, next thing you know, it's a bug that's about to mess up thousands of customers' accounts, and you have this big media crisis. At least with commercial clients, if you mess up a big account or whatever, I mean, it's pretty easy to hop on the phone, talk to that one person, figure out what went wrong, and fix it up from there, right? So I like the way they're starting. I like that they adopted it. But to me, it's just crazy that banks are taking so long. So hopefully with this new adoption from PNC and Silvergate, they run wild and crazy and tell the rest of Wall Street, like, hey, you guys are literally missing out on so much money right now just from adopting this technology. There's nothing to be scared about. But yeah, this is really good to see. Again, this article goes in a little bit more detail as far as Ripple and their MoneyGram partnership. You remember that one as well. We talked about that when MoneyGram decided to use Ripple for cross-border payments as well for the most part, but or at least use RippleNet. But also it's the same thing. MoneyGram, again, they're not doing it for the end user. They're doing it for themselves to save more money, not for the customer to actually come in and save more money as well. So Ripple is making a big splash this week, and they're definitely drawing that line in the sand. It's one of those things, you either love it or you hate it right now. As we saw, some people hate it, or at least they hated it yesterday. I wonder if they'll still hate it today, now that they see that the company actually is working, at least their blockchain is working, getting these other banks on board. And of course, the big question remains, what's going to happen if FedNow actually launches? Will they give PNC that tap on the shoulder and say, hey, I know RippleNet's been working great for you, but you either come to FedNow or you go home, right? Who knows what happens when that time comes, because they are the direct competitor of RippleNet and some of the things that's going on there. But either way, shout out to PNC for adopting new technology. I'm glad you guys finally found some fresh eyes over there. It's good to see. All right, interesting story here. Alleged Capital One hacker accused of secretly mining cryptocurrency. I think they just put this in there to make a story. They're claiming that this person mined cryptocurrency. Maybe they didn't or whatever. Who knows? But we'll see. I guess it'll all come out. The main story, of course, is the actual Capital One hack. But what was even more interesting, I definitely wanted to give this story a shout. I know the picture doesn't illustrate it. The picture here from Cointelegraph has two police officers arresting the guy, but it looks like the hacker was actually a woman. So there you go. I know all these women in blockchain and women in tech groups are huge. And boom, I have realized we are even biased when we do our criminal reporting. All the criminals have only been men thus far. I think actually yesterday's story where they caught 3 or 4 people, or yesterday or 2 days ago story, when they caught a few, 3 or 4 people for doing whatever illegal, or the illegal drugs, illicit opiates with cryptocurrency. It might have been 2 days ago, but I think one of them were a woman as well. But she was just selling drugs. This is actually coding. So the individual accused of perpetrating a massive scale hack of credit card issuer Capital One also allegedly hacked cloud customer servers to mine cryptocurrency for herself. Court filings published on August 28th revealed that Paige A. Thompson has been indicted on charges of both perpetrating the Capital One breach and of hacking into the servers of her employer's cloud services customers for the purposes of cryptojacking. Now, when you talk about employers' cloud services, It's only 2 or 3 people out there really doing it, right? You got, I know Google's trying to start or get their thing running. Was it Azure or something? I think, is that Microsoft Azure? I'm not sure who Azure is. Of course, you got Amazon Web Services and all that good stuff. Well, it looks like she was doing her crypto jacking through Amazon Web Services, which is crazy. I mean, look, there's some companies you mess with, there's some companies you just don't mess with, right? Amazon has turned into one of those companies you do not mess with, along the likes of Google, of course, and technically even Facebook, even though he doesn't really throw his weight around like the other 2 services do, right? When you got a technology company who has everyone in America's data and a portion of the world's data at their fingertips, I mean, they're going to protect it, right? Especially when you're talking about something as big as cloud services. Cloud-based services are supposed to be the future. So just like I always tell you all about Gmail's G Suite, where I say, hey, if you buy this $5 or $6 email from G Suite now, like they will ferociously protect it. You can email somebody from Google, you can get somebody on the phone. It isn't like the free email address. That's how these companies feel about their cloud services. I mean, there is a race to see. I mean, of course, Amazon's winning it by a large margin right now, but there still is an ongoing race to who will win the cloud services market share for the entire industry going forward, right? It is a very valuable industry. It's continuing to grow, and there's more companies every day signing up for cloud services. You got to remember, a lot of companies don't even know what cloud services are. They don't know they can migrate all their data off their servers, and they don't have to maintain them and look at them and pay attention to them. They can give it all to Amazon to do it for them and still maintain the same type of data center, I guess, a virtual one, right? So this is the future. And I say all that because, I mean, clearly she's ballsy already, if that's the right word for her, but clearly she had some gumption already. She hacked all the Capital One, but to also try to crypto jack through Amazon Web Services again. Genius, but not genius really, because like you're going to get caught. But looks like the filings indicate only that the firm provides cloud computing services to individuals, companies, and government, and reveal details of 3 unnamed victims of Thompson's alleged data theft and parallel crypto jacking scheme. So she got 3 victims. Of course, those 3 victims, we don't know if those are individuals or if they are actual companies, right? Big organizations, who knows? It looks like all 3 victims had contracted or rented servers from the cloud computing firm. One is described as being a, quote, state agency of a state that is not the state of Washington. So she clearly got somebody very important. The second as a telecoms non-United States-based conglomerate and that serves customers in Europe, Asia, Africa, and Oceania. And the third, a U.S.-based public research university. All right, so she got all enterprise. She got all organizations, big organizations and institutions. Again, that's one of those things where, I mean, I don't know what she was thinking about, but Amazon would not allow for their cloud to get hacked, whether it's internal or external. And if it happens, you better believe they're coming out with the hammer. So I'm actually interested to see what happens with the court, what type of punishment she gets. We know if you do anything to mess with the with fiat currency, you get a life sentence or more. So it'll be interesting to see what she gets for basically hacking Amazon cloud web services, as well as the hack of the Capital One bank as well. So definitely gonna be paying attention to this. If you want to read more of this story, this is on Cointelegraph. Again, this is Paige A. Thompson, who allegedly gained access to 140,000 social security numbers, 1 million Canadian social insurance numbers, and 80,000 bank account numbers, as well as data pertaining to customers' credit scores, credit limits, and balances, as well as this crypto jacking from these 3 organizations as well. Women in tech, we are here. All right. When you get a couple of criminals on that list, you guys are moving along very good. There you go. What's going on, Tessa Hall? Long time no see. Glad you can make it to the live. Binance launches dev education and collaboration platform Binance X. So, as a quick heads up, these last 2 stories are great news stories to end the day on. Shout out to Binance. Go ahead. Binance is all over the place, right? Want to give Binance that slow clap. Major crypto exchange Binance has introduced its new developer-focused project called Binance X. Looks like this the exchange launched Binance X actually today on August 29th. Is aiming to provide blockchain developers with all necessary resources to drive new solutions on Binance's projects, as well as in the whole blockchain ecosystem, according to a press release with Cointelegraph. It looks like right now, of course, Binance's X Fellowship, a program with over 40 projects supported by major developers and researchers, has began to go live. This includes Binance's Labs Incubation, Binance Launchpad, company's strategic investment arm, M&A, and then, as I said, that Binance X Fellowship. So a lot of platforms, a lot of things Binance are offering for developers. They're saying this new platform will allow developers to create new solutions within a number of Binance products, including the Binance Chain, Binance.com APIs, Trust Wallet SDKs, and Binance Charity Donation Platform, the press release noted, as well as actually being able to check out some of the past work some of their own developers, their in-house developers, has done on some of these projects. And then last but not least, Binance X is going to have this so-called evangelist program, which will recruit volunteers to carry out local and college meetups, reading groups, workshops, and hackathons, this report notes. This is crazy news coming from Binance. Essentially, they are looking to corner the entire market, right? When you talk about all these different projects for developers to come and learn using all of your tools, as well as having an evangelist program where you're putting people on college campuses or local campuses doing meetups, workshops. That means you are planning to grow exponentially as a company, and you are doing the legwork to actually have your own in-house developers go through a pipeline and grow with you, which would be awesome. I mean, how cool would it be? Would it be to see a regular college student who switches their major to a blockchain type major or whatever, goes to a meetup or a workshop, learns about all this stuff, goes to Binance X, start to become a developer, and then next you know, Binance actually hires them out of college or something, right? That's what we're talking about here. Also, if you're already a developer coder, whether you're at an entry level or, an expert or whatever, this gives you a chance to go in there and look at what other people are doing. Look at some of the new technologies coming to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole, right? They're working on all this stuff on their platform. So I think it's really cool. It gives a place for developers to go meet more like-minded people and work on some actual projects that are either out right now or coming out. Again, this kind of to me looks like a GitHub, Binance's own personal GitHub basically, but very cool to see, and hopefully it actually pushes more growth toward developers and crypto. Here's the Binance X website here is binancex.dev, so I'll put that link there. But as it says here, igniting innovation on the Binance platform, a new initiative to help developers leverage Binance infrastructure for their ideas and projects. So this is pretty cool. They even got, we help developers succeed, learn. As I just said, this is my first time looking at the site too, so it's pretty funny. They have the word noobs here. I said entry level to expert, but as they say here, from noobs, for those who don't know what that means beginners. It is a word used amongst gamers usually, but from noobs to seasoned developers, you can find a growing library of documentation, tutorials, and tips, everything that can get you started on how to build on the Binance platform, collaborate, like I said, work with other people, and you can grow it. You better believe if you are a developer working on this and you start to come up with the next big idea, right? It's Gatorade. You come up with Gatorade. You better believe the university, in this case being Binance, is going to help you develop that. They want you to develop it. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually just hired you as the project lead and say, hey, you started this thing, you know what you're doing. Take it out at least to the business end of things. We'll get somebody else to pick it up and run with it. But continue on this project. We'll get you a team. That is the cool stuff about this. All you have to do is go in there and start coding, start developing, and people will notice. If you're that good, you have a job overnight. So again, cool to see. Let me click on this learn link and see what happens. Oh yeah, see, here you go. You got the Binance APIs here, the documentation, the GitHub repository, which I just actually said. This is like their own in-house GitHub to me, which is crazy, but a great idea. I'm actually surprised like Coinbase hasn't done the same, or Gemini, right? Another reason Gemini, I know Zuckerberg isn't lying either. Zuckerberg basically did this already. If you remember that Libra, he's doing all type of Libra working groups right now. He's doing the bug bounties and all that. Sounds like a developer to me. But the Gemini twins who claim they made Facebook isn't doing any of this type of stuff. But again, if you look at this, they have all types of stuff. You can see some different coding languages here: C++, Java, Node, PHP. Of course, everybody's favorite Python is in there. The different type of wallets for the Trust Wallet, their main website, developer website, GitHub, and Binance charity. So they have all this stuff listed if you just want to learn about it. Again, super cool to see this. Can't wait to see what big name comes out of it after they do some big things on it. Here's the developer site too under Learn. So a lot of good information. This has all been very built out. It's been built out. It's been well thought of. So that's cool to see. What's going on, Sergeant Crypto? Welcome to Formation, man. All right, last but certainly not least, Andreas Antonopoulos' new Mastering Litecoin Network book is set to be released in a year. Andreas Antonopoulos announced his new book, co-authored by Renee Pickart and Lightning Labs CTO Olawa Osuntukan. I hope I pronounced that right. Which all three of them will basically be co-authoring this book. They put it out there in a YouTube video published yesterday, August 28th. Antonopoulos noted that the three will start writing in September, and they expect to need about a year to release it. He also noted, we're inviting everyone in the community to help us with contributions. Again, this is what's beautiful about this community, about the industry of cryptocurrency, at least those who are actually in the community. Instead of being like, I hate to beat a dead horse, but JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, some of these banks, some of these institutions out there who are like, no, we don't want no one else looking at what we're doing. This is our own private project all for ourselves so we all can make even more money and growing wealthier. Like, that is not the point of this new technology. The point is to make it open source so everyone around the planet, like Binance actually just did, can see things and they can start working on it and improving it at a faster rate and making it more efficient and effective for everyone. And I've actually never really seen this done with a book. So this might be a first for a book. This is almost like a what's the word I'm looking for when everybody, it's like a community book, right? I can't think of the word right now. It's like a crowdfunded book, except nobody's paying with money. People are paying with information. It looks like Pickard explained what motivated him to take part in this endeavor is a lack of educational material concerning Bitcoin's Lightning Network. At first, he started working on an open source book about Lightning Network. Then the current collaboration began after Antonopoulos reached out directly. Like, how beautiful is that? A guy says, hey, Lightning Network doesn't have enough information out there. And I understand this because think about Bitcoin, people. How many people said, well, I first saw Bitcoin in 2012 or in 2013 or in 2014 or maybe in 2009, right? 2010. I first saw Bitcoin years ago, but I didn't buy into it or get into it until years later because of whatever reason, right? The primary reason, at least for me, when I first saw Bitcoin back in whatever year it was, it may have actually been like 2014 or something, there was not a lot, if any, literature really on it. Like, and when I say literature, I mean easily digestible literature for someone who's coming from a non-technical background. So back in 2014 and before that, even really in 2016, there weren't a lot of books. There weren't a lot of YouTubes. One of the reasons why we started this YouTube, I think in 2016, there may have only been 2 or 3 other YouTubers out there really doing, I know, I think it was Crypto Blood might have been around, and then Bitcoin Trade, to be honest. He was one of the first YouTubers in Bitcoin. So there wasn't a lot of information, there wasn't a lot of literature, and you didn't know what to do, right? So people, for that reason, people weren't getting into Bitcoin. It's even the same till right now. For some people, it's still way too technical, even though it's been watered down, right? Well, the same thing is happening with Lightning Network. Everybody got the Lightning Network out. People are encouraging people to use it. Lightning wallets, this, and another. People don't understand it. So they're looking to make a book, or at least Pickard was looking to make a book. And you have a great, like Andreas Antonopoulos, who's been in the community for so long, come on and say, hey, I'll help you write this thing. Then you got another person say, hey, I'll help you write it too. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, whoever around the planet wants to help us write this thing, come help. Like, submit information. So again, that is the cool thing about this industry. What other industry or what other business could you go to where you're like, hey guys, I got a good idea and I can actually help you with it, you know, either for free or you can pay me. And who actually allow you on? That's the crazy. I can't go to JP Morgan right now and say, hey guys, I have a great idea for your business. If you just give me 5 minutes, I can just run this thing down to you. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, no. But instead, they'll just be like, no, we good. We don't even want your opinion. We don't want or need anything from anybody outside these doors, right? But again, I think that's why this industry has so many smart people in it, and they're getting even smarter every day. And you have these teenagers, of course, like Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin, who created Ethereum at the age of 17, because it's open source stuff and people can learn faster. I mean, this is not hard. I hate to keep beating into people, but this is the future. I mean, we're seeing that everywhere. Uber shares rides. You know, everything's about sharing, right? Sharing. So very cool to see. I can't wait until this book comes out. And I think it'll be really cool if they actually have a page on the book where they like thank all the contributors and it's people from around the world you never heard of. Maybe it's just a Twitter name on there who gave some type of input to the book that helped others learn about the Lightning Network. So very cool to see. Last but not least, Andre Antonopoulos, or Pickard, I'm not sure, it might be Antonopoulos, explained that the book will be open from the start, allowing everyone to read it for free and contribute to it or use excerpts from it in their work. Antonopoulos is also the author of Mastering Bitcoin, The Internet of Money, and Mastering Ethereum. There you go. It is that simple, people. They're opening it up to share it. They want you to include your thoughts and opinions on it. Crowdsourcing. Thank you, Wire Sparks. And Dio Trice. Collaboration. Look, you all know I'm bad with words, all right? I played football the majority of my life and then went to the military. It's not my forte. I've been working on it a long time. But yeah, it's going to take a year for it to come out. But again, I can't wait. I don't know that. I mean, I know a lot about Lightning Network, not as much as the technical side as I would like to. So yeah, when it comes out, I'm going to definitely grab it as well. All right. Hope you all had a good time laughing at me in the comment section as I tried to say words. If you saw me choking, it's because I didn't have enough water in me today. The hydration problem is real right now. I'm working on it. Madam Crypto, I know you're going to come. That's why I stayed on just to say hola to you. Other than that, people, we'll be off tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this long holiday weekend. And we will restart the show on Tuesday for episode 462. Other than that, make sure you smash that like and share button. And if you haven't already, feel free to download this podcast on Google Music, iTunes Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and every other podcast that's out there. I think we're streaming them all. But have a great weekend. If you're in the U.S., enjoy the holiday. If you're not in the U.S., come enjoy the holiday, right? And we'll see you next week. Cheers.